Lisa Martinez rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the clock on her console. 3 hours left on her shift at Sentinel-7, the deep space monitoring station that orbited far beyond Pluto. She had been tracking routine signals from Earth colonies. When every screen in the communication center suddenly flashed red, the warning alarms made her jump. In her 5 years working at the station, she had never heard them before. Emergency signals filled every frequency at once. This was impossible. Nothing could broadcast on all channels simultaneously. Commander Williams to the communication center. She called over the intercom. Her voice shook a little. Jake Williams arrived within minutes, still putting on his uniform jacket. What's the situation, Martinez? He asked, looking at the flashing screens. Sir, we're receiving a signal that's coming through every frequency we monitor. It's strong, stronger than anything I've ever seen. And sir, it's not from any human source. Jake frowned. Show me. Lisa pressed a button, and a voice filled the room. It spoke perfect English, but there was something wrong with it. The tone was too flat, too precise, like a computer trying to sound human. People of Earth, the voice said, we are the hegemony of Keth. We represent 12 species that rule this galaxy. We have watched your kind for many years. Jake and Lisa looked at each other. First contact. After decades of wondering if humans were alone, the answer had come to them. The voice continued. Your species grows fast. You build ships. You make colonies. You explore space with no permission. This cannot continue. Images appeared on their screens. Massive ships that looked nothing like human technology floated in space. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Some looked like giant crystals. Others like living creatures made of metal. We have seen many species like yours, the voice said. They all believed they were special. They all believed they could challenge us. Watch what happened to them. The images changed. Lisa gasped and covered her mouth. Planets exploded into pieces. Entire solar systems turned into clouds of dust. Cities burned on alien worlds while strange ships watched from above. We do not enjoy destruction, the voice said, but order must be maintained. The galaxy belongs to those who earn the right to rule it. Jake grabbed Lisa's arm. Record everything, he whispered. Send a copy to Earth immediately. Your species will cease all space exploration, the voice commanded. You will destroy your colonies. You will bring all humans back to Earth. You will never leave your solar system again. You have 30 of your days to comply. More images filled the screens. Human colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan. Ships traveling between Earth and Jupiter. The new research station near Alpha Centauri. The aliens knew about all of it. If you refuse, we will do what we have done to others. Your species will end. Your planet will become dust. Your sun will die. Nothing of humanity will remain. The transmission ended. The screens went back to normal. The alarm stopped. The communication center became very quiet. Jake sat down heavily in a chair. 30 days, he said. Sir, what do we do? Lisa asked. We warn Earth. Send everything to President Foster. The Global Defense Council. Everyone who needs to see this. Lisa's fingers moved quickly over her controls. The signal would reach Earth in hours. Soon, every leader on the planet would know that humanity was no longer alone, and that they might not survive the meeting on Earth. President Amanda Foster was sleeping when her security chief woke her up. Madam President, we have an emergency. You need to see this now, an hour later. Foster sat in the secure briefing room deep under the White House. Around the table sat General Carl Brown, head of Global Defense, and Dr. Helen Parker, who ran the Terra Nova Research Institute. The alien message played on the large screen. When it finished, the room stayed quiet for a long time. How many people know about this? Foster asked. The signal reached every major government at the same time, General Brown said. Russia, China, the European Union, everyone got it. There's no keeping this secret. What are our options? Foster asked. General Brown opened a tablet. I've run the numbers. Based on what we saw in that transmission, their technology is centuries ahead of ours. If we fight, we lose. Badly. So you're saying we should surrender? Dr. Parker asked. I'm saying we should be realistic. They can destroy planets. Our best weapons can barely scratch their smallest ships. Dr. Parker leaned forward. There might be another way. What do you mean? Foster asked. For the past 15 years, my team has been working on something called Project Lighthouse. We told everyone it was for long-distance communication, but we discovered it can do much more. Like what? General Brown asked. What if I told you we've been watching them just as long as they've been watching us? Foster raised an eyebrow. Explain. Every human ship that goes into space carries special equipment. Every colony has certain devices. We told people they were for communication and navigation. That's partly true. But they also collect information. What kind of information? General Brown asked. Everything. Signal patterns, energy signatures, navigation data. For 15 years, we've been mapping not just our local space, but tracking where signals come from across the galaxy. Foster stood up and walked to the window. Even though they were underground, she could see a small screen showing the view from above. Earth looked peaceful and blue, with no sign of the danger approaching. How long do we really have? She asked. Based on their transmission, 30 days until they expect our answer, General Brown said. But if they decide to attack, their ships could be here much sooner. Then we better make those 30 days count, Foster said. She turned back to the table. Dr. Parker, I want to know everything about this Project Lighthouse. General Brown, start moving our defensive assets, but do it quietly. If we're going to respond to this threat, we need to be smart about it. What kind of response are you thinking about? Dr. Parker asked. Foster smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. They sent us a message showing us how powerful they are. Maybe it's time we sent them a message showing them how clever we can be. Outside, the stars looked the same as always, but somewhere among them, an alien fleet was preparing to end humanity's future among the stars. They thought humans would either surrender or fight and lose. They were about to learn that humans had a third option. 3 days after the alien message, Dr. Helen Parker stood in front of a room full of the most important people on Earth. The secure meeting room was deep underground in Colorado, inside the mountain that housed the Global Defense Command Center. President Foster sat at the head of the table. General Brown was there, along with leaders from every major country. They all looked tired and worried. The whole world knew about the alien threat now. People were scared. Dr. Parker, President Foster said, you mentioned Project Lighthouse. Tell us everything. Helen walked to the large screen at the front of the room. She pressed a button, and a map of the solar system appeared. Tiny dots of light marked human colonies and ships. 15 years ago, we started putting special devices on every ship and station we built. She said, we told everyone they were communication beacons. That was true, but not the whole truth. She pressed another button. Lines of light connected all the dots, creating a web across the solar system. These beacons do more than talk to each other. They create something we call quantum entanglement fields. Think of it like invisible threads connecting every human outpost. General Brown leaned forward. What does that mean in simple terms? It means we can send messages instantly across any distance. But we discovered something else by accident. When all the beacons work together, they create what we call a reality anchor. A what? Asked the president. A point in space that becomes very hard to change or destroy. If someone tries to blow up a planet that has our beacons on it, the beacons fight back. They make the planet much stronger. The room was quiet. Everyone was thinking about what this meant. How strong? General Brown asked. We're not sure. We've never tested it on a large scale. But our computer models suggest it could stop even the alien weapons we saw in their message. President Foster stood up. That's good, but it only protects places where we already have beacons. What about Earth? Helen smiled. Earth has more beacons than anywhere else, hidden in buildings, buried underground, floating in the oceans. If someone tries to destroy Earth, they'll have to get through several thousand reality anchors first. She pressed another button. The map changed to show the whole galaxy. Instead of just human space, it showed signals coming from everywhere. But that's not the best part, Helen said. For 15 years, our beacons haven't just been talking to each other. They've been listening. The room became very quiet. Listening to what? Foster asked. Everything. Every radio signal. Every energy pulse. Every communication in this part of the galaxy. We've been mapping where the signals come from, who sends them, and where they go. General Brown's eyes got wide. You mean, we know where they live? Helen said. All of them, the 12 species in the hegemony. Their home planets, their military bases, their secret facilities. We have the coordinates for everything. President Foster sat back down. My God, it gets better. Helen continued. We also know they're not the only ones out there. Our beacons have detected signals from dozens of other species. species that don't seem to be part of the hegemony. She changed the display again. Now it showed different colored dots across the galaxy, blue dots for the hegemony, red dots for unknown species. Some of these red dots send very weak signals, like they're trying to hide. We think the hegemony might be controlling them, keeping them quiet. General Brown was taking notes. What else do we know? The hegemony uses something called hyperspace jumps to move their big ships, but hyperspace has rules. Ships can only jump to certain points, and they leave traces when they do it. We've been tracking those traces. Helen pressed more buttons. Lines appear on the galaxy map, showing paths between stars. These are their travel routes. We know how they move, where they go, and how long it takes them to get there. President Foster looked amazed. How did you keep this secret for so long? Only 12 people knew the whole truth, Helen said. Everyone else thought they were just working on communication equipment. The beacon network was built piece by piece, with each team only knowing their small part. What do you need from us? Foster asked. Time and resources. I need to contact every human ship and station. They all need to move to specific positions and activate their beacons in a special pattern. What kind of pattern? General Brown asked. Helen's smile got bigger. The kind that will let us send a message to every corner of the galaxy at the same time. A message no one can block or stop. 2 weeks later, Captain Ryan Scott received his orders aboard the deep space ship Aurora. He was near Alpha Centauri, doing routine exploration work. The message was marked with the highest security level, moved to coordinates for 0.37, -16.2, 41.8, and wait for further instructions. Tell no one about your destination. This order comes directly from President Foster. Ryan looked at the coordinates. They were in empty space, far from any planet or star. It made no sense, but orders were orders. All across human space, similar messages went out. Ships changed course. Stations powered up equipment that had been sitting quiet for years. Colony leaders received instructions to activate devices they didn't know they had. On Mars, Commander Kate Johnson got orders to move half her defense fleet to new positions around the solar system. The position seemed random, but she trusted her superiors. At the research station near Europa, Dr. Kevin should receive equipment he had never seen before. The instructions told him to connect it to the station's main power and wait for a signal from Earth. The aliens were watching. Their scout ships reported that humans were acting strangely, moving ships and equipment for no clear reason. Some human installations were powering down, while others were suddenly becoming much more active. The hegemony commanders thought humans were panicking. The random movements looked like chaos to alien minds. This made them confident that humanity would surrender when the deadline arrived. They had no idea that every move was planned. Every ship, every station, every piece of equipment was being positioned as part of a massive network that would soon stretch across the galaxy. Dr. Helen Parker worked day and night in her laboratory, coordinating the positioning of thousands of beacons. Each one had to be in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. How much longer? President Foster asked during one of their daily meetings. 10 more days, Helen said. We need 10 more days to get everyone in position. The aliens gave us 30 days total. We're cutting it close. It'll be worth it, Helen said. When we're ready, we'll send them a message that will change everything. What kind of message? Helen looked at the galaxy map on her screen. Thousands of blue dots now marked human positions. Red dots still showed the unknown species scattered across space. The kind that turns a threat into an opportunity, she said. Outside, alien scout ships continued watching human activity. They saw ships moving, equipment activating, and signals passing between human outposts. But they didn't understand what it all meant. In less than 2 weeks, they would find out. And when they did, the balance of power in the galaxy would never be the same again. The countdown to humanity's response had begun. Day 30 arrived with clear skies over Earth. Lisa Martinez was back at her post on Sentinel-7, watching the deep space monitors. At exactly noon, Earth time, the alien fleet appeared. The ships came out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Lisa had never seen anything so big. The lead ship looked like a giant crystal mountain floating in space. Around it, 11 other massive vessels formed a circle. Each ship was different, representing the 12 species of the hegemony. My God, whispered Commander Jake Williams, standing behind her. How many ships is that? I count over 300, Lisa said, her voice shaking. The big ones are each the size of a city. The crystal ship began broadcasting. The same flat, emotionless voice filled the communication center. People of Earth, your 30 days have ended. We are here for your answer. Will you surrender and return to your planet, or will you force us to destroy you? Lisa looked at Jake. Sir, we're receiving a message from Earth. It's President Foster. Put it through. President Foster's voice came through the speakers. All stations, this is Earth Command. Operation Lighthouse is now active. Dr. Parker, begin transmission. Lisa's instruments started going crazy. Every human beacon in the solar system was powering up at the same time. The energy readings were off the charts. What's happening? Jake asked. Before Lisa could answer, something incredible happened. Every screen in the communication center lit up with the same message. But this wasn't just on Sentinel-7. This was broadcasting everywhere. Dr. Helen Parker's voice came through the speakers, but it wasn't just reaching human ships. The signal was so powerful, it was breaking through hyperspace, reaching every corner of the galaxy. This is Dr. Helen Parker, speaking for the people of Earth. We have received your ultimatum. Here is our response. The transmission began, but instead of words, it was coordinates. Thousands and thousands of coordinates, each one followed by a timestamp and 3 simple words. We are here. Lisa stared at her screen. The coordinates were coming so fast she couldn't read them all, but she recognized some of them. They were star systems, planet locations, positions of space stations. On the lead alien ship, the hegemony commanders were receiving the same transmission. The prime arbitrator, a being made of living crystal, watched the coordinates scroll across their screens. What is this? Asked the Keth commander. What are these numbers? Their computer systems began analyzing the coordinates. Within minutes, they had their answer. The prime arbitrator's crystal body began to glow with alarm. These are our locations. It said in the Keth language, every world, every base, every hidden facility. How do they know? The transmission continued. More coordinates, more locations. The humans weren't just listing hegemony positions. They were sharing the locations of every alien species they had detected in the galaxy. On the research station Deep Watch, Dr. Alex Turner monitored the reactions of the alien fleet. They have stopped moving, he reported to Earth. All ships are holding position. I'm detecting lots of communication between their vessels. The truth was sinking in for the hegemony. Humanity had been watching them for years. Every secret base, every hidden world, every classified facility was now being broadcast to the entire galaxy. But the humans weren't finished. We know you control other species, Dr. Parker's voice continued. We know you keep them weak and scared. We know you rule through fear and secrecy. Today, that ends. The coordinate list changed. Now it was showing the locations of the oppressed species. The ones the hegemony had conquered long ago. Species that had been hiding, too afraid to fight back. To every species receiving this transmission, Dr. Parker said, you are not alone. We are humanity, and we are new to this galaxy, but we understand what it means to be free. These coordinates show you where your oppressors can be found. What you do with this information is your choice. The transmission ended. The galaxy fell silent. On Earth, President Foster sat in the command center, watching the results of their message. Within an hour, the effects began to show. Madam President, said General Brown, we're receiving reports from our deep space monitors. There's massive communication activity across the galaxy. Signals we've never heard before. What kind of signals? Foster asked. Species that have been silent for centuries are suddenly broadcasting, and they're all talking about the coordinates we just sent. Dr. Helen Parker joined them in the command center. The plan is working. We've given every oppressed species in the galaxy a roadmap to their freedom. Back on Sentinel-7, Lisa Martinez was tracking the hegemony fleet's communications. Commander, they're receiving messages from all over their territory. Their homeworlds are reporting attacks, uprisings, rebel activity. Jake nodded. Humanity just started a galactic revolution. The prime arbitrator on the lead ship was dealing with disaster. Reports were coming in from 17 different worlds. Species they had conquered centuries ago were suddenly fighting back, and they knew exactly where to strike. How is this possible? The Keth commander asked. These species have been peaceful for generations. They were peaceful because they were afraid, the prime arbitrator replied. Fear only works when your enemies don't know where to find you. The hegemony fleet was receiving new orders from their government. Return home immediately. The rebellion was spreading faster than they could stop it. But first, they had to deal with the humans who had started it all. The Prime Arbitrator opened a communication channel to Earth. Humans of Earth, you have made a terrible mistake. You have interfered with galactic order. You have armed our enemies with information they should not have. President Foster's voice came back immediately. We have armed them with the truth. The same truth we're sharing with everyone who wants to hear it. You do not understand the forces you have unleashed, the Prime Arbitrator said. We maintained order in this galaxy for thousands of years. Without us, there will be chaos. Without you, there will be freedom. Foster replied, we've seen what your order looks like. Entire species living in fear, afraid to speak or explore or grow. That's not order. That's oppression. The alien commander's crystal body flashed with anger. You are one small species on one small world. You cannot challenge an empire that spans the galaxy. We're not challenging your empire, Foster said. We're showing everyone else how to do it themselves. The communication ended. The hegemony fleet began to move, but not toward Earth. They were turning around, heading back to their home territory to deal with the rebellions that were spreading across their worlds. Lisa Martinez watched the alien ships disappear into hyperspace. They're leaving, she reported to Earth. All of them, asked Commander Williams. All of them. The entire fleet just jumped away. On Earth, President Foster allowed herself a small smile. Phase 1 complete, she said to her staff. Now we wait and see what happens next. Dr. Helen Parker was monitoring the galaxy-wide communication network. The response is bigger than we expected, she reported. We're detecting new species broadcasting every hour. The coordinate list we sent has reached every corner of the galaxy. What are they saying? Foster asked. Most of them are thanking us. Some are asking for more information. A few are offering to help us if we ever need it. General Brown looked worried. What about the hegemony? They're not going to give up easily. No, Foster agreed. But they're dealing with rebellions on dozens of worlds. It'll take them time to put down all the uprisings. Time we can use to prepare for what comes next. Helen Parker looked at the star charts on her screen. The galaxy was changing. Species that had been silent for centuries were suddenly talking to each other. The hegemony's empire was cracking. We did it, she said quietly. We actually did it. Did what? Foster asked. We turned their threat into our opportunity. They thought they could scare us into surrender. Instead, we used their own deadline to free half the galaxy. Outside, the stars looked the same as always, but humanity had learned something important. In a galaxy full of powerful enemies, the best weapon wasn't always the biggest gun. Sometimes, the best weapon was simply the truth, shared with everyone who needed to hear it. The hegemony had ruled through fear and secrecy. Now, thanks to a species they had tried to threaten, those days were over. The galaxy would never be the same. 2 weeks after the coordinate broadcast, the galaxy was on fire, not with weapons, but with revolution. Admiral Ben Taylor sat in the Lunar Defense Command Center, watching reports come in from across human space. Another species just declared independence, reported Lieutenant Nancy Clark, monitoring the long-range communications. That makes 43 species that have broken away from hegemony control. Ben shook his head in amazement. 43 in 2 weeks. The broadcast really worked. On his main screen, he could see messages from the hegemony fleet. They were still trying to reach Earth, but now their tone had changed completely. No more threats. Now they wanted to talk. President Foster had moved to the orbital command station Freedom Station to better coordinate Earth's response. She was meeting with Dr. Helen Parker and General Brown. When the latest hegemony message arrived, people of Earth, came the familiar voice of the Prime Arbitrator. We wish to discuss terms. The situation in our territory has become difficult. Perhaps we can reach an agreement. Foster looked at her advisors. They want to negotiate now. What do you think? It's a trap, said General Brown. They're just buying time to reorganize their forces. Dr. Parker disagreed. I don't think so. Our deep space monitors are showing massive fleet movements throughout hegemony space. They're pulling ships from everywhere to fight the rebellions. They don't have the resources to attack us right now. Foster nodded. Let's hear what they have to say. But we talk from a position of strength. The communication link open. The Prime Arbitrator's crystal form appeared on the screen. Even through the alien technology, it looked stressed. Humans of Earth, it began. Your actions have caused great chaos in our territories. Many of our member species are rebelling. This threatens the stability of the entire galaxy. Your stability. Foster corrected, not ours. The hegemony has maintained order for 3,000 years. The Prime Arbitrator continued, without us, these species will fight each other. There will be wars, destruction, suffering. Dr. Rachel Stone, head of Earth's Intelligence Division, stepped forward. She had been analyzing hegemony communications for weeks. That's interesting, she said, because our analysis shows something different. The species rebelling against. You aren't fighting each other. They're working together. The Prime Arbitrator's crystal body flickered. What do you mean? We've been monitoring the communications between the rebel species. They're forming alliances, sharing resources, coordinating. Their attacks against your forces. The coordinate broadcast didn't just tell them where to find you. It let them find each other. Foster smiled. Dr. Stone, show them what we've learned. Rachel activated a display that showed the galaxy map. Instead of the chaos the hegemony expected, it showed organized resistance movements spreading across dozens of star systems. The species you've been oppressing for centuries are natural allies. Rachel explained. They share similar values, similar experiences. The only thing that kept them apart was not knowing where to find each other. The Prime Arbitrator was quiet for a long moment. You have given them weapons they should not have. We gave them information, Foster replied. What they do with it is their choice. We offer you membership in the hegemony, the Prime Arbitrator said suddenly. Full membership. Equal status with our founding species. Shared technology, protection, a voice. In galactic governance. General Brown leaned forward. That's quite an offer. What's the catch? You must stop broadcasting the coordinates. You must stop encouraging the rebellions. Help us restore order, and we will welcome humanity as partners instead of enemies. Foster pretended to consider it. That's generous. But we have some questions first. Ask them. How many species were in the galaxy before the hegemony formed? Foster asked. The question seemed to surprise the alien commander. I do not understand. Why this matters? Humorous, Foster said. Archaeological records suggest there were over 100 spacefaring species in this region of the galaxy 3,000 years ago. And how many are members of the hegemony now? 12. The Prime Arbitrator admitted. What happened to the other 188 species? The alien was quiet. Dr. Helen Parker stepped forward. We know what happened to them. Our beacon network has been collecting data for 15 years. We found the ruins, the dead worlds, the scattered survivors. The hegemony didn't bring order to the galaxy. It destroyed most of it. Those species were primitive, the Prime Arbitrator said defensively. They could not adapt to galactic civilization. They were murdered, Foster said flatly. Entire civilizations wiped out because they wouldn't submit to your rule. The 12 species in your hegemony aren't your partners. They're the only ones that survived your conquest. The truth hung in the space between the human station and the alien ship. We offer you the same choice we offered them, the Prime Arbitrator said. Join us willingly or be destroyed. Foster stood up. Counteroffer. You have 30 minutes to leave our solar system and never return. If you refuse, we'll broadcast the locations of your remaining military bases to every rebel group in the galaxy. You cannot threaten us, the Prime Arbitrator said. But his voice was less certain than before. We're not threatening you, Foster replied. We're offering you the same choice you offered us. Surrender or face the consequences. Colonel Sam Roberts, commander of the Orbital Defense Platform, stepped into view. Prime Arbitrator, you should know that our broadcasts can reach your homeworlds faster than your ships can travel there. If anything happens to Earth, every species in the galaxy will know exactly where to find your families. The alien commander's crystal body went dark. For a moment, when it lit up again, the color was different, more blue than white. You have changed the galaxy forever, it said quietly. The old order is ending. The old order ended the moment you threatened us, Foster replied. You could have contacted us peacefully. You could have offered friendship instead of surrender. But you chose to threaten us with extinction. We have seen too many species like yours, the Prime Arbitrator said. Young, aggressive, expanding too quickly. They always become problems. Maybe they became problems because you treated them like enemies from the start, Dr. Parker suggested. Did you ever try just talking to them, offering them partnership instead of submission? The alien was quiet again. The galaxy is big enough for everyone, Foster continued. Well, it's not big enough for empires built on fear and conquest. Your choice is simple: adapt to the new reality or become irrelevant. The communication ended abruptly. On the tactical display, the alien ships began moving away from Earth. "Are they leaving?" asked General Brown. "Yes," reported Colonel Roberts from the defense platform. "All hegemony ships are jumping to hyperspace. They're heading back toward their core territories." Foster allowed herself to relax for the first time in weeks. Status report. What's happening across the galaxy? Dr. Rachel Stone pulled up the latest intelligence data. The rebellions are succeeding beyond our expectations. The hegemony has lost control of over 60% of their territory. 3 of their member species have withdrawn from the alliance entirely. What about the species that are rebelling? Are they fighting each other like the hegemony predicted? Just the opposite, Rachel replied. They're forming a new alliance. They're calling it the Free Worlds Coalition, and they want to meet with us. Foster smiled. Set up the meeting. It's time humanity took its place in the galaxy. Dr. Helen. Parker looked out at the stars through the station's viewing port. You know what this means, don't you? She said to Foster. What? We're not alone anymore, and we never will be again. Outside, the alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, carrying news of their defeat back to their remaining territories. The hegemony's 3,000-year reign of terror was cracking apart, and it had all started with one simple broadcast. Humanity had learned that the strongest empires could fall to the right kind of truth, shared at the right time, with the right people. The galaxy was about to get much more interesting. 6 months after the coordinate broadcast, Captain Jennifer Walsh piloted the diplomatic ship New Horizon toward a planet called Kepler 442b. Behind her sat President Foster and a team of Earth's best diplomats. Today was the day humanity would meet its new allies face to face. How many species will be there? Asked Foster. Looking out at the approaching planet, our latest count is 57, replied Dr. Helen Parker, who was now Earth's chief science advisor for galactic affairs. All former hegemony subjects who declared independence after our broadcast. The planet below was beautiful, with blue oceans and green continents. It had been chosen as neutral ground for the first galactic assembly. No single species controlled it, making it perfect for peaceful meetings. As their ship entered orbit, Jennifer could see dozens of other vessels from across the galaxy. Each ship looked completely different, representing the many species that had broken free from hegemony control. New Horizon. This is Kepler Control, came a voice over the radio. It spoke in perfect English, thanks to translation technology shared by the rebel species. You are cleared for landing in Assembly City. Welcome to the Free Worlds Coalition. The landing was smooth. Outside, representatives from dozens of species waited to greet them. Some looked almost human, others were completely alien, but all of them were smiling or doing whatever their species did to show happiness. A tall, blue-skinned being approached President Foster as she stepped off the ship. President Foster, I am Ambassador Kree of the Andorian Republic, on behalf of all free species. Welcome to our new galaxy. The Assembly City was amazing. Buildings from different architectural styles stood side by side. Gardens from a dozen different worlds created a rainbow of colors. In the center stood a great hall where the real work would begin. Inside the hall, Foster found herself sitting at a round table with representatives from 57 different species. The diversity was incredible. Some breathed different gases, requiring special equipment. Others communicated through colors or sounds instead of words. But they were all there for the same reason. The Free Worlds Coalition owes its existence to humanity, said Elder Vryn, a representative from a species that looked like living plants. Your coordinate broadcast gave us the tools to free ourselves. We're honored, Foster replied. But you did the hard work. You fought for your own freedom, and now we must decide what comes next, said Captain Zera of the Centauri Federation. The hegemony still controls their core worlds. They're regrouping, planning their return. Dr. Rachel Stone, who had come as Earth's intelligence chief, activated a holographic display above the table. It showed the current state of the galaxy. The hegemony has lost control of 70% of their territory, she reported, but they still have significant military forces. And they're not the only threat we face, the display changed to show new areas of concern. Our long-range sensors have detected movement in the galactic core. Rachel continued. Species we've never seen before are sending out scout ships. Some seem friendly, others. She paused. Others are showing hostile intentions. Ambassador Kree nodded. The hegemony kept the galaxy stable through fear. Now that they're weakened, other powers are moving to fill the vacuum, which is why we need to work together, said President Foster. Separately, we're all vulnerable. Together, we can defend our freedom. The discussions continued for days. Each species shared what they knew about galactic threats and opportunities. Slowly, a plan began to form. The Free Worlds Coalition would become more than just a rebellion against the hegemony. It would be a new kind of galactic government, based on cooperation instead of conquest. Earth's quantum beacon network will be the foundation, explained Dr. Helen Parker during one of the technical sessions. We can extend it to connect all our worlds, allowing instant communication across any distance. And if we share our defensive technologies, added Captain Zara, each world becomes harder to attack. On the third day of the assembly, they received unexpected visitors. A small fleet of ships dropped out of hyperspace and requested permission to land. The ships were hegemony design, but the identification signals showed they belonged to 3 of the hegemony's founding species. The Korath delegation requests an audience, announced Kepler Control. In the assembly hall, 3 figures appeared on the communication screen. They looked different from the prime arbitrator humanity had dealt with before. These aliens seemed younger, less rigid. Free species of the galaxy, said the lead figure, a being with silver skin and forearms. I am Commander Jorik of the Korath Republic. We speak for the Talmir Commonwealth and the Nexus Collective. Foster recognized the names. These were 3 of the 12 founding species of the hegemony. We come to announce our withdrawal from the hegemony of Keth. Commander Jorik continued. Our peoples have voted to seek membership in your Free Worlds Coalition. The assembly hall erupted in surprised voices. Even the translation computers had trouble keeping up with all the different languages being spoken at once. Wine asked Elvervin when the noise died down. Your species helped create the hegemony. 3,000 years ago, the hegemony was different, Jorik replied. It was meant to bring peace to a violent galaxy, but it became something else, something we no longer recognize. The Keth had become obsessed with control. Added another figure on the screen. They see every new species as a threat to be eliminated. This was never our intention. Foster leaned forward. What about the other hegemony species? For remain loyal to the Keth, Jorik said. They still believe in the old ways, but 5 others are considering joining us. The hegemony as it existed is finished. Dr. Helen Parker was taking notes quickly. If 3 founding species join us and 5 others are considering it, that leaves the Keth with only 4 allies. The Keth still have the largest military force, warned Commander Jorik, and they have allies from outside the galaxy, species from the galactic core that share their views about control and domination. This was new information. Rachel Stone activated her recording equipment. Tell us about these outside allies, she said. They call themselves the Order of Eternal Night. Jorik replied. They believe the galaxy should be ruled by the strongest species, with all others serving as slaves. The Keth had been in contact with them for decades. The assembly hall became very quiet. This was bigger than anyone had imagined. How long do we have? Asked Foster. Our intelligence suggests they're planning a major offensive within a year, Jorik said. They want to reclaim all lost territories and expand beyond this galaxy. Foster looked around the table at her new allies. 6 months ago, humanity had been alone, facing extinction. Now they were part of a coalition of nearly 60 species, with the possibility of adding several more. That we have work to do, she said. The assembly continued for another week. By the end, the Free Worlds Coalition had a constitution, a command structure, and a plan for mutual defense. Earth would serve as the coalition's communications hub. Thanks to the quantum beacon network, the former hegemony species would contribute their advanced technology. The newly freed species would provide resources and personnel. As President Foster prepared to return to Earth, Ambassador Kree approached her one final time. President Foster, he said, there is something you should know. The species in this coalition, we have voted. We want to offer humanity a special position. What kind of position? Foster asked. We want Earth to be the capital of the Free Worlds Coalition. Not because you're the strongest or the oldest, but because you're the ones who made this possible. Foster was surprised. That's a great honor, but we're still new to galactic politics. Are you sure? Very sure, Kree replied. You see, in 3,000 years of hegemony rule, no species ever thought to do what you did. You could have surrendered, You could have fought and died. Instead, you found a third option. What option was that? You chose to free everyone else first. Kree said, that tells us everything we need to know about humanity's character. Back on Earth, the news of humanity's new role spread quickly. The planet that had been threatened with extinction 6 months ago was now the capital of a galactic alliance. Dr. Helen Parker stood in her laboratory, watching signals from across the galaxy flow through the quantum beacon network. The network that had started as a secret military project was now the foundation of galactic civilization. Any word from the deep galaxy? Asked her assistant, Dr. Kevin Shaw. More species contact us every day, Helen replied. Some want to join the coalition. Others are just curious about the species that defeated the hegemony without firing a shot. And the threats, Helen's expression became serious. Those are increasing too. The Order of Eternal Night isn't the only hostile force. Out there are others. Species that like the galaxy better when the hegemony kept everyone else weak and afraid. Kevin nodded. So what do we do? Helen smiled. The same thing we did when the hegemony threatened us. We get ready, we work together, and we show the galaxy that freedom is stronger than fear. Outside, the stars looked the same as always, but humanity now knew they were not alone among them. Somewhere out there, 57 allied species were building a better future, and somewhere else, hostile forces were planning to destroy everything. The Free Worlds Coalition had built. The first challenge had been met and overcome, but in a galaxy full of dangers and opportunities, it would not be the last. Humanity had learned its place among the stars, not as conquerors, not as subjects, but as the species that chose to light a beacon of hope in the darkness. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had intended. Young Communications Officer Mary Johnson sat at her post on Earth, monitoring the galaxy-wide network. A message came in from a distant star system, coordinates of a new species seeking contact. She smiled and began her transmission with the words that had become humanity's signature across the stars. We are here, and so are our friends. The age of the Free Worlds Coalition had begun.